But I thought we'd have a roundup of what's happening with Twitter, because there's a lot that's going on, and it seems that Elon's actually doing a pretty good job, despite all of the media reporting to the contrary. Anyway, before we start, if you want to support us, especially now we've been demonetized, thanks YouTube, go over to lotus.com, sign up, and watch my latest podcast with Dan, talking about, as a pair of foreigners, why we think American society is in collapse. Because we've both been watching the... I don't want to say... No, I'm going to have to say it. It's the unfolding catastrophe of the American experiment. I'm sorry, it started as a really good idea, but just
look, it's controversial.
I feel bad, because there are lots of Americans who I really like, who are genuine, like, good-hearted patriots, and they are perhaps not quite willing to accept that, look, there's this cold civil war going on in the United States at the moment, and it's not pretty.
I mean, this is why I say they need to stop seeing themselves as some kind of, like, experiment, ideological state. Like,
Yeah.
you're an ethnic group. Everyone sees you as an ethnic group. Just
Yeah,
claim your land on that basis.
Everyone recognizes the American regardless of the color of their skin. Trust us.
Yeah.
So trust us on this.
I don't know why the American ethos has to cling to, like, oh yeah, we're an ideological place. Like,
Well, it's the
you
same,
don't have to be.
Same as the French. It's the ideological liberal revolutions. But anyway, that's what me and Dan are talking about, and it's really good. And like I said, we've been demonetized, thanks YouTube. So come and support us. We're doing a good job, I think. Anyway, let's begin with Twitter's financial problems, because a week or so ago, the Sunday Times were like, ha ha ha, Elon Musk's the failing Twitter platform, taking a Trumpian view on it. According to an internet organization that monitors internet performance called Thousand Eyes, I'd never heard of these before, the number of problems affecting Twitter have more than doubled under Elon Musk's ownership, because apparently they had 208 instances of poor performance as the business compared to 100 over the same period over 1 year. It's like, okay, I mean, he did fire more than half the staff, like 2/3 of the staff, so, what do you expect? I mean,
Child porn still went down.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's in their list of complaints. I'm going to be generous and say it's not. But there has been the odd Twitter outage, but to be honest with you, I use it every day. It seems fine.
Plus, even if it had gone out under the old regime,
Yeah, they
it would
would
have been normal.
Yeah. Anyway, Musk obviously pointed out that, well, look, I bought this company for $44 billion, and it was losing $3 billion a year, which is not great, right? And it makes you wonder, was it really worth $44 billion? I don't think so. I mean, apparently...
Depends what you use it for.
Wait, exactly. It's exactly right.
Propaganda's never a waste of money, Carl.
Exactly. It depends what you... I mean, Twitter used to spend $1.5 billion a year servicing its own debt. Like, and then it's losing another $3 billion on top of that, right? The Twitter apparently had $12.5 billion debt when he bought it. So it's like, right. So for them to get $44 billion for Twitter, I think it's a bloody good deal for them, right? Anyway, so Elon's taken over and he's starting to make some changes. I think my favorite change is having an automated email bot that just sends the Poo Emoji when a press inquiry comes in.
Yeah.
Which the Sunday Times was actually complaining, well, yeah, says a Poo Emoji. Don't know why.
Did you see Vice's reporting on that?
No, I didn't actually.
They wrote an article saying, we asked Twitter about child pornography and they sent us a poop emoji.
Well,
trying to smear Twitter for, like, they didn't care.
That was literally Elon's top priority on day one, is to get rid of it.
I know, but
and Vice are like, well, hang on a second.
But clearly they'd read what he'd done and then tried to write a smear piece. It was so transparent.
How can you write a smear piece about that?
Because they were like, oh god, yeah, see, that he sent us this, and not say it was a bot.
Right. Either way, terrible. Right. So anyway, recently there has been a leaked memo from within Twitter where Elon is offering the remaining staff stock grants as a way to incentivize them, they can make money. So a stock grant, which I don't know anything about, means that for you purchase these, and after 6 months they're apparently worth more, and then you can sell them, but you can't sell them sooner. But whatever, right? So it's a way for the staff to make more money. Ask Dan, I don't know, right? But the I don't know, right? But the important part.
Sorry, just make me laugh.
I should have asked that. But the important part is the memo itself suggested that, in fact, Twitter is only worth $20 billion now. And so the question is, well, how was Twitter keeping itself afloat? And of course, they say this. The company's steep devaluation follows Musk's turbulent takeover. Several large advertisers have left the platform, and major sources of funds for Musk's purchase of the company, the investment firm Fidelity, have written down the value of the stake by 56%. So, yes, not good, basically. So the platform is worth less than half, according to the people who bought it. But Musk is turning things around. I mean, this is why you fire like 2/3 of the workforce, right? You go from 7,700 people to 2,000 people, and eventually you start saving some money. As he tweeted the other day, last 3 months were extremely tough. Had to save Twitter from bankruptcy while fulfilling essential Tesla and SpaceX duties. Wouldn't wish that pain on anyone. Twitter still has challenges, but is now trending to break even if we keep at it. Public support much appreciated. So good. Musk has actually saved Twitter from being the eternal black hole that it was. Now, this, of course, means that some sacrifices have to be made. But before we go into that, in fact, apparently there was a leak of Twitter source code, and so Elon's like, well, we'll just have open source code. The code for how tweets are recommended is just going to be put out. But what's interesting is the nature of the algorithm behind it. Because, I mean, it will be interesting for when the tech bros pour through it and be like, this is. I mean, I'd like to have that kind of transparency with YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else, right? But there are going to be loads of tech bros who pour over this and then write their long analyses, and then someone can summarize it for an idiot like me, right? But he says, our algorithm is overly complex and not fully understood internally. Isn't that amazing? So it's like, we don't know how this works. So don't complain to me about, I don't know what stock options are, right? They don't even know how their own algorithm works, okay?
It's probably hidden partially from them.
Yeah, probably.
So there's I mentioned before, there's this podcast with YouTube where they spoke to Susan. They also actually spoke to the three guys who will manage the YouTube algorithm.
Right.
So the original guy who made YouTube such success, his idea was just more of the same.
Sure.
You like the stuff, I'll give you more of that.
And that made YouTube really, really successful.
Yeah, it did. And then the more like different guys they spoke to who took over the task of managing their algorithm afterwards, the more complex and nonsensical it got because of the input of politics.
Yeah, and then Susan's like, hey, they need to know about things they hate.
Yeah, so now the algorithm had to encompass just shove stuff in that nobody clicks on, but is relevant to my political views.
And I bet Twitter is exactly the same. And they're doubtless going to have lots of subroutines that are about suppressing X content and things like this and promoting others. But I just find it really amusing. People will discover many silly things, but will patch issues as soon as they're found. We're developing a simplified approach to serving more compelling tweets, but still a work in progress that will also be open source. Providing code transparency will be incredibly embarrassing at first, but it should lead to rapid improvement in recommendation quality. And more importantly, we hope to earn your trust. Now, I think that's a great move on Elon's part. I don't see any way you could possibly complain about that unless you were the one being embarrassed by your excessively complex and punitive algorithm. Anyway, so people leaked a part of the front-facing algorithm. Doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned, because it's all going to change. But anyway, so Twitter Blue is globally rolling out because, of course, if you're going to have a profitable business, you need to have a revenue model. And having people subscribe is a good idea, actually. It works for us anyway. But there is the flip side of this. What if you were a legacy verified checkmark and you were told, wait a minute, you're going to have to pay 8 buckaroos a month?
Well, you'd ask, is it worth it?
You would. You would indeed. So on April the 1st, as in April Fool's Day.
Okay.
Something mimetic about this. We'll be winding down our legacy verified program and removing legacy verified checkmarks. Now,
just on April Fool's Day, they're going to replace all the checkmark with clown emoji. All the old users.
Well, they did change the text to say this may or may not be notable
on
the account, and it literally changed it to a little clown face.
Every time you click on a profile, it's got a legacy checkmark. It's just confetti comes at the top of the screen, and it just starts playing on your browser. Just
yeah. Little clown on a ball along the screen, which would be great. But the thing is, there's a bit of a conflicting information about this, because apparently individuals associated with verified organizations will be automatically verified. I don't know how that's going to work.
So, like drug companies, etc.
Yeah, I assume, I mean, the government ones are grey now.
Yeah.
So they're official government ones.
Organizations, not people. I assume is the distinction.
Yeah, but the but an individual person's account affiliated with a verified organization. So who knows, right? But the important thing is that a bunch of people you've never heard of in your life are furious that they won't be verified on Twitter anymore. Do you know who Mike Drucker is? No, well, he replied to this saying, "Thank you for doing this. I'm not even being sarcastic. Some users on Twitter were starting to confuse me for the type of person who paid $8 a month to feel special. It was embarrassing. Yeah, if I can't feel special for free, like, who is this guy, right? Apparently, an Emmy.
Ask your mother, right?
Yeah, an Emmy-nominated writer and comedian who wrote a book about Silent Hill 2. Average verified checkmark.
I wrote a book about a video game.
Yeah.
That's just defeating the purpose.
I was Emmy nominated. Is that okay? Anyway, next chap is a guy called Matt, who chimes in. I'd rather pay my own father to rail me than pay your dumbass checkmark tax.
How much is your father? What?
I mean, yeah, literally. Weird that your father's cheaper than $8 a month. But
What a really weird response. What the hell?
yeah. And the thing is, that's really weird, because, like, I would rather pay for the verified checkmark tax, even if I was a verified checkmark.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I
You'd
am
rather
sure.
pay $8 than get railed by Matt's father?
No, I don't really
I'd
want
pay the
to.
$8. I'm good. No.
But it's even worse that Matt would happily pay that $8 to his own father. I mean, at least
His
I'm not
father's
related.
7, so
At least I'm not related to Matt's father, right? But who is Matt? I don't know. Who's this guy, right?
Been on Love Island, maybe?
I don't. Yeah, exactly. Who knows? YouTuber guy, co-host of Goon podcast or something. Washed up car show presenter. Him.
Yeah.
Who the hell is he?
Yep. Legacy
He's
check.
got
That's what
half
that
the number of followers I've got. I've never heard of this guy.
is. He's got him.
Yeah, exactly. He's a
Where's your him?
Well, exactly. Where is my him? But and the next one is just someone who's like, just take it away. Yeah, hell no. Take away my check mark. Who even cares? You really seem to care about this. This seems to really put a bee in your bonnet, right? Nobody wants to pay for that.
First response, who are you?
Well, yeah. Well, do you want to just hover over a profile, John? Just so you can. Who the hell is she? 2,000 followers. Sometimes Max in Blumhouse, Five Nights at Freddy's, sometimes Presley in A Week Away on Netflix, sometimes just go, no idea who you are.
Yep.
Why are you verified?
Because you may remember, like, the whole verified thing used to be for, like, big accounts that had become notable because of the news or blah, blah, blah. That's why it
Had
was
lots
worth
of
the time.
impersonators.
Because, like, a human being used to have to sit down and verify people.
Yeah.
They were apparently spending their time verifying Cat.
Well, remember that there was the issue of some people paying 15 grand for their verified checkmark.
Money well spent.
Yeah. Anyway, another person was complaining that, hang on, you're not actually verified if you pay your money. It's like, well, actually you are, because you have to give them your bank details, which has your name on it, so they can actually guarantee that it's you. Twitter making groundbreaking cultural statements by saying verified doesn't actually mean you've been verified. It does, actually. Words don't need to have meanings. Sure.
Who's Pat?
Yeah, in fact, I don't know, actually. Do you want to hover over
Should
his?
we guess about the pronouns? Oh, no pronouns.
I upload and stream a lot. Okay?
Huh.
Who the hell are you? 60,000 followers. Never heard of you. So William Shatner chimed in and said, hey, Elon Musk, what's all this about blue checks going away unless we pay Twitter? I've been here 15 years giving my thoughts and time. Now you're telling me I have to pay something for something you gave me free? What is this? The Columbia Records and Tape Club? That's a boomer reference I don't get. And Elon just retweeted this saying, look, it's more about treating everyone equally. There shouldn't be different standards for celebrities, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Seems fair to me. Then you had a bunch of people complaining about equality. The purpose of blue checks should be to verify that someone is who they say they are. No more, no less. Oh, yeah? Oh, really? Then why is it you get lots of people who are very, very famous who aren't verified? Posey Parker isn't verified.
Why did people get their checkmarks taken away?
That's a great question. How did Milo lose his checkmark? Was he no longer who he was?
Do you remember the official reason for that? It was so unconvincing as well. It was
No. He changed his profile picture or something.
he was making fun of someone, so he changed his profile picture and description to do a bit of trolling. And they were like, well, that violates it, because now no one can tell us you. It's like, it still has at Milo.
Nero. It was.
Yeah, Nero.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
clearly not the person he's trolling.
Yeah. But, that's the point, isn't it? It's not about actually verifying it's the person. Because if that were the case, well, then Elon's right. It is just, why wouldn't we verify everybody so you know you're not talking to a bot? Why wouldn't literally everyone on the platform get a verified checkmark if that were the question? No reason not to. So you get the next one, because it was never really about that. The blue check was not meant to be a different standard. It was designed to be a verification that the person or organization was exactly who they say they are. I have to prove who I was and work for it. Now I just have to prove that I have a credit card with $8 a month. Yeah, but the credit card is a verification of your identity.
What do you mean I had to prove who I was and who I worked for? No, you only have to prove who you are if it's a verification of who you are.
Yeah.
No, you have to prove who you worked for.
But this is the mythology of the ruling class, right? It's not meant to be a different standard. It's just really restricted to a bunch of people in a particular club and can be taken away if you step outside of those boundaries.
My boss is in the club, so I'm allowed into.
Exactly.
That's all he's saying. Then.
Yep. And you get people who literally just come out and admit this, right? Like this guy, never heard of him, Dex. Sure he's someone important. It was a huge goal of mine to get verified, and when it actually happened, I was at work. I came home to this little surprise for my wife and daughter. I'm sure you won't care, but so many of these changes that seem unnecessary kind of ruin the vibe. This is the social community manager for Call of Duty. But there we go, right? It's not about simply proving who you are, and we know you know that.
The vibe of being in.
Exactly. It's the vibe of being better than the plebs, right? So someone else had replied to Elon Musk, if you can get the next one, saying, it's a check mark. Do you really need it? And they were like, yes, it's why we have trophies, medals, certificates, diplomas, plaques, etc. The check mark is a modern day digital trophy that symbolizes a form of significance. Many of us have spent the last 10 years of our lives building a brand for ourselves. This was a nice way to reward that. Right. Thank you. Finally. Who's this person? I don't know who that is.
It's Landon. You don't know Landon?
No, I don't know Landon. CEO owner of Carnage Clan. Oh, investing. Oh, he sounds like it. Carnage Clan. They sound like they invest in good people. But yeah, no, never heard of this rando. But there we go. You built a brand. You were of the correct political persuasion.
So you get the trophy.
You get the trophy. That's exactly it. We completely agree with you. But Elon Musk does make a good point. He's like, look, that may well
was
be
retarded. That system wasn't good for anyone except you people.
There is that, right? It's, again, some people criticize Elon Musk, but he does have quite a man of the people sort of attitude towards these things, and I do approve of it. But he does make a good point here, though. Look, technology has somewhat improved. If you think you're dealing with a bot now, you aren't going to know in like 10 years' time. Whereas it says, modern AI can solve any prove you're not a robot test. Was it the Turing test? It's now trivial to spin up 100,000 human-like bots for less than a penny a account. Paid verification increases bot cost by 10,000% and makes it much easier to identify bots by phone and CC clustering. Obvious conclusion, paid social media will become the only social media that matters. Yep. Because why wouldn't it?
This is actually a complete side note, but Team Fortress 2 is like rigged with bots.
Yep.
And the obvious solution to that is just to start charging £1 to play Team Fortress 2. So if you can make 10,000 bots, that's going to cost the owner £10,000.
And it's hardly worth it.
No. Completely dries up the satisfaction.
But when I can do the bots for free. But that's the point. And so the only thing I think that's really missing from from Elon's changes to Twitter so far was the question of revenue sharing. Remember how he mentioned in February that there would be a sort of YouTube revenue split in advertising? I think that's a great idea. I mean, why not pay people to be on Twitter if you own Twitter? I mean, I can think of civilizational reasons why not to do that. But if you own Twitter and you want people to, spend their time encouraging people to come to Twitter, this, I think, is the key to YouTube's success, was the fact that you could get paid to be a YouTuber. As in, this works. This is actually a method of sustaining an income. This is what made YouTube big, and this is what keeps YouTube big. And I think that this is the right aspect to go for Elon. But as The Verge here are complaining about, he mentioned this back in February, and it hasn't happened yet. Twitter Blue subscribers are supposed to have it, and he said it was like a while ago, but like starting today. It's like, okay, well, where's my revenue share? Like, I want to start making money. I'll tweet a lot more.
$20.
Yeah, I'll start tweeting a lot more. Yeah. And I think that's a great idea. So the complaint being like, well, he hasn't followed up on this. And he is right, because essentially what you would be doing is saying, look, if you're subscribed to Twitter Blue, you can get a share of the ad revenue. And if you've got 5 million subscribers, because you're a really famous community manager for Call of Duty or something, then you could be making a significant amount of money from your $8 or $7 a month, whatever it is. So actually, it makes it worth it for you, and it makes it worth it for us, and it's a good symbiotic relationship. But that hasn't happened yet. So anyway, that's just some things that have been happening on Twitter.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Contemplation series, this episode on euthanasia, and the debate we're in. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.